And happy Monday. I'm just here for a quick video. This is a video for the ladies, and I'm going to talk about red flags, leeches, and lending money. Red flags. As ladies, we need to stop ignoring red flags about these men. If these men aren't paying child support for their own children, don't expect them to help you take care of yours. If they are not taking care of their own responsibilities, don't expect them to be there and to help take care of you and assist you in your responsibilities when you need help. Lending money, if a man is asking you to lend the money, to me, that's a red flag as well. Don't lend out money. If a man's begging for money, that's a no-no. I believe that a man should be, if a man is a man, they didn't make a way out of no way. Meaning that if they are in need of money, they're in need of funds, that they should be able to go out and hustle and work for it. To work, run a business, some sort of side hustle, so they can put money in their pockets so they can take care of themselves, their families, and whoever they are with as a relationship partner. I don't believe that a man should be asking a woman for money. And if you run across a man who's asking you for money, run. Because they will continue to ask, and then more likely chances you will not get that money back. You will get the runaround. I've been there myself before. I was in a relationship, and that person was not. They were like always. It seemed like in between jobs. They didn't hold a steady job. I'm not sure as to why they weren't. I'm not sure how their work ethic was because we did not work at the same place. But I always found that person always, I don't know. I mean, I didn't make that much money. This is my 30s. I made like, what, $10, maybe less than $10 an hour in my 30s. I had 3 kids. And this person didn't really have much work ethic. It seemed like he attempted jobs, but he would never be there for too long with them. And I'm just like, okay, that's weird. But especially with having, him having kids, which I thought that was kind of odd. Like, you want to keep a job so you can, provide for your children, even though the children are not in your custody, even though it's the other parent's custody, but still. So I found that to be weird, and I know that was a red flag. And he was an ex of mine, he was one that did not appreciate, anything, pretty much what I did for him. If he did, of course, somebody would say thank you, but the way he thanked me later at the end of the relationship was not of thanks. It was of deception, misleading, and betrayal. So somebody who appreciates things that you do for them or you as a person will not betray you. I don't care what nobody else says. But I just think like a man who doesn't have any vision, no work ethic, can't even take you out on a date and spend money on you is something else. I would say avoid that person at all costs. I've been down that road before where I was one that was the financial giver in a relationship. This man never took me on a date. He pretended to take me on a date. And we went out to BW3s, and the bill comes to the table. Bill $63. He stood me up. He did not pay. He said he left his wallet at home. Truth of the matter is, he didn't even have he said supposedly he didn't have the money to pay for it. That's why he didn't pay for it. But he still wanted to go. So basically he's saying, oh, well, I'm just going to tell her I'm taking her on a date. But she's actually taking me on one. Just running games. And he never, because think about it, he never took me on a date. Never bought me flowers, things that my, other men I've done in a relationship, my husband does. He never did anything like that. I just found myself like pouring out and, giving. And he did not give anything to me. And some people who have like these type of, the way of thinking, some people think that you owe them something since they've been hurt in a previous relationship. They think that you owe them. I don't owe nobody nothing but you to get out of my face, pretty much. But as I mentioned, there was red flags in that. I don't know if I want to call it a relationship because I'll say situationship. Red flags completely in there. Um, I think that was um, a life lesson for myself, and it's a shame when people don't have the level of maturity that they need to even live for themselves, less anybody else. But that's another story for another day. But don't let nobody leech off of you. Don't let nobody suck the life out of you. Don't let nobody suck your money out of you, your time out of you, or anything. Your time is important. Your presence is special. Your love is special. Everything about you is of importance and special. Don't allow nobody to punk you, try to simp you, or anything like that. Because some of these men you run across, whether they're man of God or claim to be the man of God or not, have ulterior motives. When I say ulterior motives, their motives are not the best. So I just want to bring that to your attention. But I just want to say that my goal is to look out for people who are trying not to make the same mistakes that I made, or are making them and getting them to not make them anymore. And when it comes to borrow money, that's another red flag. Please don't let no man borrow no money, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get your money back. I got money out that I loaned out October, November, December, and today's March, and I have not gotten one nickel, dime, or quarter back from that person. And that person always makes excuses like, oh, I ain't got it right now. I ain't got this, I got that. But then when you go to their Facebook page, they're going out to eat. They're going to do different little jobs, to make money, but they don't have my money. And I find that to be offensive. And they don't think anything's wrong with it. They think like, oh, well, Delilah's a nice person. She's not going to say too much. She ain't going to do too much. No, that's a lie. That is a complete lie. I will go off on you. So, but hey, if that person never gives me my money back, I know good and well that I would just have to make other measures of getting my money back from, someone that they know, and going from there. That's what I'll be doing. But I just want to run some knowledge here today. I know it's a Monday, but don't let no man borrow money from you. Don't let them come and move in with you. Don't forget them sad sap stories of what's going on in their house. Let them stay at their own house. Let them make their own money. And when it comes to sex, please don't have sex with no man out here. All you creating is a soul tie with a person. The only person that you want to have a soul tie with, an earthly person, is with your husband. Not any old man. Not any old person you just gonna form a soul tie with. You just don't want anybody like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have sex with this person. I'm gonna have soul tie. I'm gonna have soul tie over here. I'm gonna have soul tie over there. No, save yourself from marriage. So, just look at my other phone real quick here. So I just want to definitely encourage you. Watch out for yourself. Don't have quantity. Quantity over quality does not equate a great relationship. It's the quality over quantity. So it's like the quality of what you're getting out of a relationship is what counts. The quantity about how many years, how many months being with somebody, that is irrelevant. So I'm going to throw that out there too. But don't let nobody leech off of you. Don't let no man leech off of you. Don't let nobody move in with you. Don't let no man borrow money from you. Don't let that man have sex with you until he wants to make you his wife. And then after you've married, then have sex. Now, I've been hearing with some people like, oh, well, if you have sex before marriage and, you got to test the waters out and see what it is and all that. No, you don't. If God has set you up, he knows what it is that you like, what you don't like, what you need, what you don't need. But if you depend on your flesh to pick for you, you're going to be in trouble. Trouble, because you have to have a spiritual life. You have to have a relationship with God in order for that marriage to thrive in the way that God wants it to thrive in. It's not based upon your flesh. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. We're supposed to operate when it comes to our decisions. In a mate, that person needs to have a spiritual background and a relationship with God and connected to God spiritually. That's where people go wrong at, like, oh yeah, I'm going to marry so-and-so over here. How are you going to marry an unbeliever and expect her or him to behave like a believer when they get married? And you knew what you was marrying when you had it. So don't expect it to be any different than what it already is now. So I just want to encourage you all today. You deserve to be happy. Your happiness comes before an adult individual. So your happiness comes first. God comes first, then you, then everybody else. Some people may not agree, but I do. I believe, like, if you are not fully happy in a relationship, then you have every right to make decisions on how to make yourself more happy. And that may be you ending that relationship with that person you're with now. Or, that person, you may need to talk with them about compromising or maybe working on that relationship to see if they would adhere to your needs, which are important as well. But that's all I want to pretty much say today. But ignore the leeches. Ignore the leeches. Shake the leeches off of you. Don't get with any man who don't have a job, no place to stay, and don't have his own means of transportation. And if he doesn't have his own means of transportation, that may be an exception to the rule, but he needs to be getting a car soon, because you don't need to be riding him around like you driving Miss Daisy. So there's nothing wrong with having standards. Standards should be a requirement. Standards are a requirement for women to have. You don't have to accept everything. There's like, oh, the ratio of men to women is 20 women to 1. Well, that's because the ratio, that may be the world's ratio, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's God's ratio. God has his way of bringing a man to you and having you meet without you having to go through all the rigmarole. Okay, so that was it for me today. But I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. And remember, God loves you. He has a wonderful plan for your life. And according to Psalms 37:4, it says, delight yourself in him and he shall give you desires of your heart. That means delighting yourself in him means spending time with him, getting to know him better, pursuing your purpose, pursuing your passion, pursuing the things that he has instilled and engraved in your heart to fulfill while you're on earth. That's exactly what that scripture means. And it does say in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Because when we lean to our own understanding, that's when we get messed up. And it always acknowledge him, verse 2, 3, 5, it was verse 6, excuse me. Verse 6, and always acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. So continue to lean on God. He will continue to direct your path in any way that you are going according to perfect will and divine will of God. And remember, your happiness matters just as much as anybody else's. And if that person that you encounter doesn't care about your feelings, about what you say, how you feel, forget them. Just say, peace out. And let somebody else let somebody else do it. Let somebody else be bothered with that problem. And don't be spinning the block. Nope. You did it once. You did it once with the person. It's not going to be any different in the next time. And I'm going to elaborate a few more minutes for this. I meant to say this initially at the very beginning, my bad. But listen, spinning the block is like taking all the food that you ate, that you cooked and ate. And no, I'm not going to say it in that way. Spinning the block is like trying to reform a banana back into the original state. It'll never work. Because once you get that banana separated in pieces, like cut it up, and mushing it or whatever, there's no way of you getting that back to the same way as it was. It's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Now, there are sometimes some situation that God will have people spin the block, but that's if it's God ordained and those people were separated by God himself and he brought them back together because they were matured, they had matured and all of that and grew up and they're ready to begin and the marriage and all of that. But that's the only exception. Anything outside of that that's dealing with your flesh, you are not supposed to spin a block and get back with your ex-boyfriend at all, period. I don't care how much you love them or anything like that. Because I know there was at one point in time when I get back with an ex and I thought about like, wait a minute. This ex was a liar. He left me and discernment kicked in. I was like, wait a minute. He was a liar. He was deceitful. He was disrespectful. He made it think like everything was wrong with me in the relationship. Truth of the matter, it was him. That way it'll make him feel like crap if he did anything to hurt me on a low key. And he was not honest, and he just liked me probably as a person, maybe my personality, but he liked more what I was doing for him. It wasn't about me more so, it was about what I was doing for him. So it's not liking me as a person about what it is. And, sexual. But the person couldn't emotionally connect, did not emotionally connect or love me like I had loved him during that time. And I had to think about that. I'm just like, spinning the block. I'm just like, it'll be just the same old mess as it was last time. I'm like, oh, forget that. Nope. I let somebody else do it. And that's why I look at it. Spinning the block. Nope. Don't do it. Because it'd be worse. You thought it was worse the first time. And you're all brokenhearted and sad and everything. Imagine doing a second time. The same thing happened over and over again. And you got to re-heal yourself. Put me in a position where almost ended up doing that before, and God snapped me out of that to even to think of it anymore, because it's like, okay, why would you go back to the same thing that hurts you? And don't go back to nothing, and don't go back to nobody who hurt you and didn't care that they hurt you. That's another thing. So no spinning the block. If you're thinking about it, don't do it. If you're thinking about it and you still have an issue, you still fighting against it, please inbox me and I'll tell you the full story as to why you should not spin the block. Do not spin the block. I don't care how fine he looked. No,